Hey guys, today's Monday motivation is about the experience of living with chronic conditions. And you may be surprised to learn if you're not someone who has a chronic condition that 60% of Americans are currently living with a chronic condition. And I recently joined an organization called the Chronic Boss Collective. In fact, I'm a founding member. It just had its launch party last week. And I wanted to talk about my just reflection from that experience, which is also in today's newsletter. um, I have had, as you know, chronic pain since I was 13. I also, for the past 7 or so years, have had anxiety and panic disorder. I probably actually had anxiety way before then, but I was never diagnosed until 2017. I'm also going through perimenopause, which I've also talked about, and I would argue perimenopause is a chronic condition because it has a whole bunch of physical symptoms and it takes 8 to 10 years. So it takes a while. You live with it for a long time. So anyway, those are that's what I bring to the table as a member of the Chronic Box Collective. But I've had the benefit of my employers being generally um, accommodating, especially, I mean, I certainly didn't feel that I could bring my anxiety to the table in terms of talking about that issue, which, you know, I feel like maybe the workplace is changing nowadays. I mean, it's been a while. It's been since 2018 since I was in a real job, and I don't believe I told my boss at that time that I was having panic attacks, which was really what led to me eventually leaving my corporate career, my full-time corporate career. I still have a corporate career. But anyway, I was really struck because I don't know how this topic came up, but I was talking to a few other folks who were there and they were sharing their various stories of having chronic conditions, Lyme disease or um, multiple sclerosis or autoimmune conditions, and having to, have lots of doctor's appointments or needing to be on short-term disability for a time, and, how that really caused a friction with their employers and in some cases led to their employers behaving very, very badly, either putting them on projects or assignments that they couldn't do as a means of trying to push them out, or one person's case, they went on disability and then came back and found that their position was eliminated, but there was like no formal release of that person. So I was really just taken aback by this, because I feel like I didn't know that kind of thing was happening so frequently. And so that, I always want to sort of own up to it when like something like that happens. And I'm like, wow, that really struck me as a learning. Um, and so I went and I did pull out some research as well. And there's tons of really upsetting statistics. And I'm not even getting into the fact that discrimination itself is a trigger or a factor that contributes to having a chronic condition. So then there's this sort of cycle of if you experience discrimination, you're more likely to have a chronic illness, and then if you have a chronic illness, you're more likely to experience discrimination. And so my motivation is actually, if you are someone with a chronic condition, know that those stories are common and also that you have a right to support. And if I reach out to me if there's something I can do. I have a whole network now of folks, including legal folks, who are like available and want to help on those kinds of things. So I'm sure we can get you some support. But also, if you're in a regular work environment, like maybe kind of look around and take into consideration there's a lot of invisible suffering that you probably aren't aware of. And that may be a source of solidarity for you, or it may be a source of kind of surprise. And I think people feel they have to hide these things. And I kind of just want to ask myself, like, is that the kind of world we want to live in? Um, you know, this maybe something about COVID, is that going to help us get over this hump where we can actually talk about what we're really facing? I mean, in workplaces where we're spending 40 to 50 hours per week. And, I'm obviously really lucky working for myself most of the time and then having a really supportive boss in my non-Pilates job where I'm able to be upfront about what I'm going through physically and emotionally. Um, Yeah, so I guess just take that into consideration, however that your own personal experience connects with that, and let's do better. And if this is the kind of thing that you enjoy talking about, I'd like to talk about it some more too. So we have our radical stress resilience workshop coming up. I definitely think that this factors into that, and I just want to figure out how we get to a place where we make this a more prominent topic of conversation and we force employers to do better, to think differently, and to help people feel they can name what they're facing so that they can show up as their best selves and not feel like they have to hide behind a facade. So that's where I'm at today. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are and talk to you soon.